Hello and welcome to Stamp Around UK. I am using this lovely tidings and trimmings set today, and we're making 3 cards. The theme is beginner, casual, and avid crafter. So I am going to make 3 cards and step each of them up, depending on what sort of crafter you might be. So this is part of the Stamp Around UK video hop, and all the links to everybody else participating will be down below. So here I am just getting my card base ready. So this is thick basic white. So just cutting it in half, scoring it in half, getting it ready for my first card base. That one was a bit mucky. So yeah, I like to use my trimmer to help me get it in the right place so that I get a good crisp crease and they meet nicely. So for the beginner, I am just going to do a bit of simple stamping. So I am just going to, I like to keep the cover for my stamps. I don't know why, I just feel that if I throw them away, then I'll find a use for them. So yeah, I like to keep them. And so I'm choosing which stocking I want. I actually wanted the one that wasn't sort of filled in, but as you will see when I stamp that, I picked the wrong one. But hey ho, went with it. So I am going to use Evening Evergreen. I think it's a really nice sort of Christmas colour. And it's kind of it's in the DSP that goes with this set as well, so I just thought I'd stick with that. So I'm just lining it up there on my grid mat, centering it on the card, and there we have it. And it's at that point that I realised, oh, it's the filled in one, but it matters not really. But I did have another idea. So now I'm getting Noel. I do like that as a greeting, and I thought that would go really nice just under the stocking there. Although I'm thinking sideways, but I've kind of committed that it has to be under because of the position I've put it in. And then I'm sort of looking at it thinking actually it needs something else. So I'm going to use some of the leaves, and they sort of mirror the pattern in the stocking, which is why I sort of chose those. And I'm just going to, there's one with a 3-leaf and one with 2-leaf. So I'm just going to put those either side of the Noel. Haven't done it so it matches, and rookie mistake there. I mounted that with the wrong way round, so I've just inked up the back of it like an umpty. There we go, and that's that. And there is a filler in stamps for these, so I thought we'll fill them in. Why not? It's beginner, so we're basically using paper, ink, cards, and one stamp set, which is what beginners might have, but we're going to create a second colour by stamping off so that we get a lighter green. Excuse my head there, but I'm really trying to sort of get over it. Yeah, so that's how you can create a second shade. You can get a third shade by going again, and depending on how dark it is when you start, you might even get a fourth shade. So that is my beginner card. Simple stamping, quite quick, and yeah, I think it's quite nice. So for my second card, I'm going to create a mat. So one quick and easy way of stepping up that a casual crafter might have picked up is by just sort of layering up. So we're going to use a basic white layer, and we are going to sort of create a mat to go on top. So I'm just stamping the stocking again, but I'm going to trim around that and create a mat to go on top of the card. So that's, you know, one simple way of doing that. So I'm just going to trim it down, and I trim it down to 2 3/4 of an inch square. and then that way I can mount it onto a 3 by 3 inch square of the evening evergreen cardstock. So just using that handy little trimmer there to cut it down, and that is a demonstrator perk. It was a freebie quite a while ago in a starter kit, and then it went on our supplies list, so we could buy it. So very handy to have this little trimmer. So there we go, 3 by 3, fits quite nicely on top of there. So quite liking that. And then I just need a card base in the evening evergreen, and that's a nice way of stepping up a card. And a casual crafter might have a few more resources that they can do this with, whereas a beginner might have limited cardstock, and so doing sort of layers might not be something that they want to do right now, because they're just building their stash up. So, but we're still just one stamp set and cardstock and ink, and not a lot else going on here. I'm just sort of measuring it, looking at where it was going to go, and so now we're going to do the sentiment. Now I could have stamped it on a piece of cardstock and mounted that as well, but I've decided to do it as I did the original, and stamp it directly on the card and put these leaves around it in the same way that I did for the other one. But I'm just sort of changing it up a bit, that I'm changing the position, that I actually preferred the way that looked on this one, but I have smudged it. So 2 sides to cardstock for a reason. If you mess up both sides, then you really do have to get another piece. But thankfully, I did miss-stamp there a little bit, but once it's coloured in, you won't notice it. And there's my head again. So yeah, so we're just filling in the same way as we did before. I like photopolymer stamps so that you can do the filling in like that, because you can see through them, and they're easy to place and easy to get a straight sentiment as well. So just using my Tombow to glue these together. So I'm going to glue these 2 mats together, and then I'll pop them up on dimensionals, which is another addition that a beginner crafter might not have, the dimensionals, but a casual crafter might have added those to their stash. I'm just going over the edges because I cut it on the other side. So again, a bit of Tombow there to fix that to the card base. I would put a basic white mat on the inside as well. I just don't do that in this video, but we do need that for writing on, because the cardstock's a bit dark for writing on. So I'm just getting my dimensionals to add to the back of there. So I also got the gems that are also in the in colour, because I thought, oh, I might add those. And casual crafter might have picked up a few gems as well to add to their projects, to step them up. It's a nice easy way of stepping up a project. So just using my grid mat there to centre that mat on top, and then I'm going to get my gems out with a bit of difficulty opening the packet. And I'm just going to use my pick me up tool, and I'm just going to put a large one. There's 2 sizes, small and large, in each of the corners there, and that is a sort of stepped up version. So very, very much the same card, but with some layers and some dimensionals and gems. They are stepped up a bit. So now we're turning to what would be your Avid crafter. Now your Avid crafter is a bit like me. I've got everything. So I'm going to add some dies to this. So I'm going to stamp this, and I'm going to die cut it out with the matching dies. So the dies cut out that stocking. So and as an avid crafter, you would have bought the bundle. I mean, a beginner might have bought a bundle as well, but I wanted to show it without using the dies. So there, that's going to cut out that. And then I thought, oh, there's some other things that we might cut out. There's some holly. I do like a bit of holly at Christmas. And we are lucky, we have a holly bush outside. So we always have a little bit of holly on our table at Christmas. And then I thought, oh, the little bow, quite like the little bow. There's a die to go with it as well. So I'm going to get that stamped as well, and we'll die cut that as well. And I might die cut a few other things. There's a few little sprigs and that. May or may not use them, but I might get those die cut out. I haven't quite sort of thought through what I'm going to do, and I like to sort of have a few options. And if I'm going to use the holly, I need the berry as well. So got a little scrap of red there, and I think that's cherry cobbler. So yeah, we've got them all, and so we've got our layers. I decided that I would use the lovely scallop layers and a stitched rectangle for the topper. That just sort of gives it a little bit of extra interest. And an avid crafter might have an embossing folder. You know, I don't like seeing smooth card mats so much, so I'm imagining that they would have a embossing folder. This is a new one. This is the bark. So I am putting the mat in that direction so that the bark's up and down. So there it is now, nicely embossed, and I'm quite liking how that looks. It's the first time I've used it, and yeah, I think it looks better than having a smooth background. It's another sort of step up, and there we've got the bow on it. Quite liking that. And so I'm thinking I'm going to stamp the sentiment actually on that mat. I was deciding whether or not I wanted the tiny season's greetings, forgetting that I'd taken the stamps out. And I'm kind of looking at it thinking, no, we're going to stick to Noel. Really like that as a Christmas greeting. So I'm going to stamp that there at the bottom, and I'm thinking of using the holly leaves rather than stamping the leaves. A little bit of a mark on there that I'd done on the other two cards. So I've got those nice hollies. That's going to go on there, and so now I'm just going to sort of play with positioning where I think I might put the holly. I'm fully decided, so I just like to sort of place it and see what they look like and come up with some ideas of where it might go. I think I like the idea of a bow there on the stocking. So if we kind of place it all together and sort of see how does that look, quite liking the way that is looking. I've got the sprigs. I'm not sure what I might do with the sprigs. They could go round Noel as well, but not really sure. Playing with them, and now I've got them out. I don't know that I like them. I did have an idea of putting them sort of behind the mat, but I'd need a few more, and I decided against that. So now I'm just going to use a bit of Wink of Stella, and there's some ink on the stamp pad, so I didn't need to get any more out of the ink block. So just colouring with the Wink of Stella. My head's in the way. That's not very helpful. I do apologise. But I am just picking up a bit of ink with the Wink of Stella and painting it on. So it's acting like a water painter brush, but it's got a bit of glitter in it. So it gives it a little bit more of a shine and steps it up again that little bit more. And again, as an avid crafter, you've got all these extra products to hand that you can just use, and a beginner might not have shelled out that much money. Well, a casual crafter might have. I know when I was doing it casually, I still had loads of stuff. But now I'm obviously a very avid crafter, so I kind of like to have everything. So that's my bow done, and I still haven't decided fully about what I'm doing with the holly. So there's that. So now I'm had a thought there to put the wing castella. We can flick it. So I'm using a block there, flick it over, and you get bits of glitter on the cardboard mat there. Not sure that it's coming up on camera, but there is little bits of glitter on there. So again, that's stepping it up a bit. Things that a beginner crafter might not have seen. I mean, if you watch YouTube videos, you pick up these tips. I did actually get that from a YouTube video myself, from one of the Stamp Around UK stampers, actually, Janice from Razzle Dazzle. I watched her do it and I thought, oh, that's a really good idea. I've never tried that. So I've done it a few times now since watching her. I think that was last month even. So I'm going to stick this to the Evening Evergreen mat, and then I'll probably pop the whole mat up on dimensionals. I think that will look better than just sticking it flat. It is, after all, we're going through a sort of stepped up card, so I'm going to stick that there. I kind of looked at it and decided which side I wanted. You could have had either side of that embossed piece there, but I went for that one. So I'm going to stick the stocking up on dimensionals. I usually only do one dimensional because that will go in normal post. If you do 2 levels of dimension, then it goes large letter. But you can always hand deliver this one, so it doesn't matter that much. I always end up with some of my cards being large letters, so it's not a problem. So, but I wouldn't like them all to be, because it does mount up the cost. So I'm just sticking that in place, and then I still have to decide about them holly leaves, don't I? So those are those bits done, ready to go on, and I am going to pop it up on dimensionals. I think that will give it an extra pop and make it a little bit extra special. So just putting them on. I like to put them on in the middle as well, so it doesn't sag. And yep, so just by pressing them down with my finger, I find that fingernail, I think that helps sort of lift them up. So just popping that on, and rather than sort of centre it, I put it a little bit nearer the top, getting the sides and the top even margin, but you've got a bigger one on the bottom. I quite like the way that balances. So just having a little play with the holly, and then I kind of put them at the bottom, and I think, oh, that's quite nice. So I've got like it's like a line running down, and I think that will work really well. So yeah, quite happy with that. So I'm just going to stick those in place. I did think about shaping them a bit, but I'm just going for them being flat. I think they're quite small. I'm not sure if I'd be able to shape them that well. So just using some tweezers there, because it's quite tiny, to place them, so it's get a bit of glue on my fingers. And as it's white, I don't want to get any marks on it. So sticking those down, and then I just need to add the berries in the centre. So I'm going to use my little fine tip applicator that I put Tombow in just to do 3 very small dots because the berries are very small, and using that pussy end of my pick tool I can place them on those blue dots. I've gone for 3 because I kind of like that, 3 berries, 2 holly leaves. I think it gives it a nice little look. And that's the finishing touch, really. That is my 3rd card done, the Avid crafter version. So let's have a look at all the cards together. So our beginner crafter version, just 1 stamp set, 1 ink pad and some paper. Our more casual crafter, we've added mats and layers and some gems. And then for our Avid crafter, we've thrown everything at it. So I hope you like that. Please click on the links down below and continue on the hop. So please like and subscribe and leave a comment and go and check out everybody else. See you soon.